Hello and welcome to Praxtra classes. Today in this video we'll read Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. That's the second chapter from class 10th English book, First Flight. Now this is an extract from his autobiography written by Nelson Mandela himself, and we'll start reading. Now the first section says, before you read, apartheid is a political system that separates people according to their race. So we all know, as I have described in my previous video, it was a political system which was implemented in South Africa by the then South Africa government, wherein people were segregated on the basis of race and color. Now, can you say which of the three countries named below had such a political system until very recently? So we all know it's South Africa. Now, have you heard about Nelson Mandela? Have you heard of Nelson Mandela? Yes, we have so many times, while we go through our curriculum. Mandela and his African National Congress spent a lifetime fighting against apartheid. Now, we all know that Nelson Mandela is also referred to as Mahatma Gandhi of South Africa. And just like Mahatma Gandhi, he too was a freedom fighter, and he dedicated his life towards for the African black people. He spent almost 30 years in prison. Finally, democratic elections were held in South Africa in 1994, and Mandela became the first black president of a new nation. Now, in this extract from his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, Mandela speaks about a historic occasion, the inauguration. Can you guess what the occasion might be? Check your guess with this news item from the BBC of 10th May 1994. So in this act, what Mandela talks about, or what he is referring to, is a historic occasion, an occasion which marked itself in history, and this occasion was termed as the inauguration. Now we have to find out, while we read this chapter, we'll find out as to what the inauguration really means and what was being inaugurated. So we'll go through this and we'll get an idea about it. So the news item which was broadcasted from the BBC of 10th May 1994. The title, the heading is Mandela becomes South Africa's first black president. Nelson Mandela has become South Africa's first black president after more than 3 centuries of white rule. So you can imagine, for 300 years, Europeans were ruling over South Africa. Mr. Mandela's African National Congress party won 252 of the 400 seats in the first democratic elections of South Africa's history. The inauguration ceremony took place in the Union Buildings amphitheater in Pretoria today. So again, it talks about the inauguration ceremony, attended by politicians and dignitaries from more than 140 countries around the world. So it was attended by, high-ranked officials and political leaders of more than 140 countries around the world. Now, one line from his speech, Mr. Mandela said, never again will this beautiful land experience the oppression of one by another. Oppression, the word oppression means, domination, or trying to oppress someone, suppress someone, and follow his or her own will without considering the will of the other. Now, jubilant scenes on the streets of Pretoria followed the ceremony, with blacks, whites, and coloreds celebrating together. Now, this was a jubilant scene wherein it could be seen that people from all the races, all the communities, were celebrating together. More than 100,000 South African men, women, and children of all races sang and danced with joy. So this was a jubilant scene there. Now there's an activity, we'll skip that part and then we'll move on to the paragraph. 10th May dawned bright and clear. For the past few days I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries. Now he says 10th May, that is the day when the date was 10th May, dawned bright and clear. Now, dawn means, the morning hours, the beginning of the morning hours. So it is begin or started, right? So 10th May dawned bright and clear. Here it would mean the 10th May began bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. Now, the word besieged means to be surrounded by, to be closely by. So, probably Nelson Mandela was surrounded by, the world leaders who were coming from different lands to pay their respects before the inauguration. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders in South African soil. Now, this is what he says, that this is a moment, a historic moment, wherein people or dignitaries and leaders, this would be the largest gathering of, international leaders in South African soil. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater formed by the Union Buildings in Pretoria. So, Union Buildings is one of the famous government buildings in Pretoria, and there's a amphitheater, sandstone amphitheater, which has been built there, and this ceremony took place in that amphitheater. For decades, this has been the seat of white supremacy. Now, Mandela says that for decades, this place has been the seat of white supremacy. The white people used to rule us from here, that's what he's saying. And now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. Now, then he says that now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations. Now, he says that since so many people are here and they all belong to different colors, different races, and different communities, and that is what he's describing it as, rainbow gathering of different colors and nations. And this, all this for the installation of the South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. Before this, there were governments in South Africa, but they were not democratic, or they did not follow the democratic principles, and also were anti-racial. On that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zinani. Now he says, on that lovely autumn day. Now this date is 10th May. Now 10th May in the southern hemisphere, because South Africa lies in the southern hemisphere, those days are considered to be the autumn days. I mean, unlike ours, wherein in northern hemisphere it would be considered as a spring day, but for the southern hemisphere it would be an autumn day. So that is the reason why he termed it as lovely autumn day. I was accompanied by my daughter Zenani. So on the day when the inauguration was supposed to happen, he was accompanied by his daughter Zenani. On the podium, Mr. De Klerk was the first sworn in as the second deputy president. So he then tells, Mr. De Klerk was the first sworn in as the second deputy president. Then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. When it was my turn, I pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution and to devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and its people. Then he says that he was the third person to take the pledge, and he pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution and to devote himself to the well-being of Republic and its people. I mean, that's the duty of a government, that's the duty of a responsible government, and that is exactly what he promised, what he pledged, what he promised to the people. To the assembly. Stay tuned for more on this chapter in video number 3, part 3 of the video. Thank you.